The former Yasuda Gardens. There was some kind of incident here recently, so the entrance was closed off. But it was easy enough to sneak in since there are no guards at this time of night. However, it feels weird being in these magnificent gardens after hours. There's not a visitor or groundskeeper in sight. The Ryogoku Public Hall is also on the grounds. Its eye-catching structure makes this place feel even more otherworldly. Looking all around. Oh, hello. Woman, she says. So, have you decided what you're going to do? With your... oh, so precious. We're really zooming in on that. Kirstone. Yeah. As soon as I stuck into the gardens, a woman inside called out from behind me. So, this playthrough, I'm just killing everyone, lady. Just a heads up. I've been waiting for you. I have a curse stone. Your sudden proclamation had me at a loss for words. The woman continued. Have you in a position where I can use my curse on you whenever I please. If you hand over your curse stone, I will at least spare your life. In that moment, all I could squeeze out and reply was, let me think about it. Which brings us to now. Alright. Did I expose myself somehow? She said she can use her curse on me any time. I guess I've already fulfilled its conditions. It could be a bluff, but since she seems to have information on me, it's probably true. And I guess she knows how to not use it, because I don't. I can't hand over my curse stone. I need to figure out how her curse is activated and find a way out of here. For now, maybe I can get some information by talking about something that'd catch her interest. Okay. Don't tell me you still haven't made up your mind. Such an indecisive man. Wait, I might hand over my curse stone depending on certain things. Will you hear me out for a moment? Sure, go on. If we're going to talk, we should get to know each other better. My name is Shokusa. Huh? Let's not do that, alright? If I know your name, I might start to feel sorry for you. And have a harder time killing you. Well then why are you just gonna kill me if I hand over my curse stone anyways? You would? Don't you think? 7. Oh? She's counting down. You take my curse stone, what are you going to do with it? With your curse stone? It's brimming with soul dregs, isn't it? It's already killed so many, no? Yeah. I don't know how to not kill. How does she know so much? I'd like to avoid such crude methods myself, so I'll just take advantage of other people who have already done the dirty work. 6. Oh, okay, now we can bring this up. You want soul dregs. That means you're after the right of resurrection, too. Not that I'm trying to compare circumstances, but can I ask what led you to this? Well, her eyes went, oh my. Then she's tired again. Do you mean that if my situation is more dire than yours? You'd give your curse stone to me. Sure, I'd consider it, so tell me. Would we at this point? Liar. Yeah. Huh? You wouldn't hang your fate on something as superficial as that. Nor would I. 5. I mean, we could solve Shogo's problem if you just admit that you're, like, single or something, because all he wants is a girlfriend. Something that I'm still doing even now. Think what would it be? Maybe something I have on me? What? No, that would take too long. She'd probably kill me before I even got my Why are you considering that? Plus, I'd look like a creep. The other possibility is that the condition has to do with the location we're in. Being here is what activates the curse of the Evergreen Beach. And I'll continue to meet that condition as long as I'm here, in which case there's no escape. She'd activate her curse before I ever got away from the gardens. I'm sure I'd recognize it after setting it off, but it's not like I get to do things. Well, funny you should say so. Okay, I mean, we could... Maybe I should just, like, whip this out. Oh wait, what? That was like 67% full? Dang! We've made some progress. Oh, I thought he was saying the same thing and I totally skipped over it. Let me, look at what that said. Well, what if you just tell me your name? And then she goes, why? Well, I need to call you something. And call me ma'am. Huh? Alright, ma'am. Yes, what is it? Ugh, this is bad. She's completely running the show here. So if I can't figure out her curse, I'll have to set off my own. I don't see how I can make her leave, though, not while she has the upper hand. I can even just make her use her curse. There's no way I could counterattack after she curses me. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. I hadn't clicked on her yet. A woman in her 30s. Oh, too old for Shogo, I see. She has a refined hair about her, like she was brought up in a family of high social standing. But I also sense a shadow hanging over her. I wonder if it has to do with this place. Okay, I clicked it and nothing's happening. Oh, my son. Why did my little taskbar just pop up just now? He'd be in 6th grade now. If he were still alive. When I'm one of the big kids, I'll help look after the 1st and 2nd graders, he'd say. He always had a strong sense of justice and responsibility. He would stand by when he saw other kids being bullied. He'd defend them, even if he was no match to the bully himself. He'd often come home in tears, but only because he was sad that he wasn't strong enough to save others. He wanted to be a policeman when he grew up. Okay, I get it. We really shut that down. Like, you're in your 30s and you have a kid. So you're not available, right? I've heard enough. Oh, that's enough for you? Yeah. Hearing such a sad story, it just makes me all the more sorry that I haven't changed my mind. Why would we give it up like that? She's still gonna kill us. I see. Heh. So even after what I told you. 3. Just pull out that lighter again. Can you take soul drugs from other curse bearer stones and add them to your own? Who knows? You're really going off some assumptions here. But you have to admit, it's worth trying. So basically, you want soul drugs, but you steal the ones others have gathered because you don't want to get your own hands dirty. You're half right. But half wrong, too. I'm going to kill you, is what she's going to do. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I just want to end this with as little trouble as possible. Understood? Or understand? 2. Dang. I can't just leave. I've had enough. 2 curse bearers. Shouldn't be carrying on like this. Alright, are you gonna kill me? It doesn't seem like there's much I can do. Still won't hand it over. 0. Such a shame. What? This is the end for you. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. Farewell. Okay, some dude. No! Fire? Fire, it's so hot. It burns. Fire. Of course, that's what it was. That guy. He must have been following me. But it's already too late. Alright, so we gotta counteract fire somehow. Yeah, we're dead. We died. We got the, achievement Haunting Shogo. My, Elizabeth, you seem to have arrived at a less than favorable result. It was not all in vain, however, as you finally realized how the curse is activated. Fear not, you may make as many attempts. That was the weird way I said it. You may make as many attempts as you please from the conversation with the lady. Very well. Remember how to ward off the curse when you return. But bear in mind, Shogo Oki has no way of realizing it himself, so you must react for him. How do I ward off fire? Like, I would assume it has something to do with water. I can throw it away. Huh? Throw away the slider? Why did I suddenly get the impulse to do it? Yes, really, throw it away. threw it into the lake. Not sure why, but here goes nothing. 100 yen lighter discarded. Why did you just... Why? Why throw your lighter away all of a sudden? Huh? Oh, well, I just kind of felt like it. Oh, that's a wonderful face. How? Why is she losing it all of a sudden? Could that lighter have been what fulfilled the condition of her curse? But why? How did I... Oh. Nah, how could you? I don't know how to not use the curse. So I guess we're going for the bad ending this route. This can't be. Oh my, Shuichi. We're so angsty every time we do something like that. We're like, the cursed stone of the Whispering Canal has gained 25% soul dregs. We're pretty high up there now, like in the 80s or 90s, I think. Right? Okay, well, I can't look at it from here. Let's go to the bridge. Ryogoku Bridge. Hey, quick question for you. You look like a dad. Or like a big nerd, or both. Sorry this is so sudden, but I've gotta ask. You don't mind, do you? Are you a curse bearer? Anime glasses moment. What? Oh, he's got legs. Large bridge here is called Ryogoku Bridge. Crossing the river leads to Nihonbashi, Makurocho, and Chuo City. Neat. Let me save real quick before I turn my back on you. Now where the one-sided regroup is supposed to be around here somewhere. Now there's no trace of it left. Don't mind me. Oh, there's a lady over here. How did you... Oh, don't mind me. The tower said he wants to talk. You better answer quickly before... Well, you know what. Oh, if I don't talk to him, is that what activates the curse? Making it obvious that he's a curse bearer himself. What's he trying to pull? Maybe he's confident that he can activate his curse before I activate mine. Gotta be careful. How should I respond here? What's that? What is that? It took too long to answer, huh? Plus you glanced behind me when the curse echo appeared. I knew it, you're a curse bearer too. You can stop trying to hide it now. I thought you were doing a very good job. I wasn't even trying to hide it. Yeah, you're right. I appreciate the honesty. I just want to have a nice, calm little chat. My name's Yutaro Namagaki. My curse echo is the foot washing mansion. Oh, is it not what I thought it was? Oh, so then the ladies would be the rejected person. I think. Unless I'm getting that completely wrong, and like, where you encounter them has nothing to do with their curses are. That actually makes a lot more sense, I think. Well, he just straight up told us. It's this one. About the giant foot that commanded it be washed, and then they washed it, and then it fixed the roof after it left. Young curse bearer, Yutaro Namagaki. He's a male university student, and his curse echo is the foot washing mansion. The young man encountered at Ryogoku Bridge. He didn't hide the fact that he was a curse bearer. Chat? I'm not going to curse first and ask questions later just because we're both curse bearers. I've got a little more class than that. Hope you're smart enough to extend the same courtesy. Okay, fine, chat away. Thank you. Good to know I'm dealing with someone reasonable. I don't know, man. I've killed a lot of people tonight. Is this his curse echo? He said it was the foot washing mansion. Is that why they are only legs? I think it might be that lady's. Chat between two curse bearers. What's he trying to pull? 92% soul dregs. So, like, if we kill one of these people, we should be good. Alright, let's talk. What do you want? Right, I'll cut to the chase. Will you join forces with me? Join forces? To gather soul dregs? Yep, you're using your curse because there's someone you want to resurrect too, right? In that case, it'd be more effective for the two of us to work together than to do it all yourself. Think about it. We could split the work and we'd have two kinds of curses at our disposal. I don't know, man. I only need to kill, like, one more curse bearer. Working together. I hadn't thought about that before. Can soul dregs and one curse stone be moved to another? That's a fundamental requirement for this to work. Well, we'll have to test it. And I can't do that alone either. Let's see. So he wants to test if we could give him our soul dregs. Like, we're so close to completing that ending of just killing everyone. So I think we're just gonna go with no. Sorry, but there's no way I can accept your offer until I know that. Angry face. Used to say you won't run away while we're in the middle of testing it. Well, you're just going to have to trust me. Or do you think you can collect them all? I think I can collect them all myself. Yeah, I'm at 92%. Huh? Say what? That's the amount of soul dregs I have in my curse stone right now. Why would you tell him that? What? Wait, are you serious? You're not even close to being on my level. I'll keep gathering soul dregs on my own. Let's forget all this joining forces business. Gotta be kidding me. I call your bluff. Don't think you could scare me off so easily. I see. It's too bad. If you don't feel like talking, then you leave me no choice. I even gave you a chance to come out of this alive. Real shame you're just gonna waste it. What are you? What the? Is this the voice of the curse echo? Among the 7 mysteries, the resentful memory of the foot-washing mansion is particularly strong. You can't block it out by plugging your ears. As soon as you hear the voice of my curse echo, it's the end for you. No! I actually think I know how to beat this one. My, Elizabeth, yes. Again, I've arrived at another less than favorable conclusion. Very quickly after arriving at a different, unfavorable conclusion. This is mere conjecture on my part, but you have a way to evade curses that no one else is capable of, do you not? Fear not, you may make as many attempts as you please from the conversation with Yutaro. Very well, remember to ward off the curse before it is activated. But bear in mind, Shigooki has no way of realizing it himself, so you must react for him. Yeah. We gotta go to options. And we'll just... Whoop. There we go. It's not a problem anymore. Right? That's too bad. If you don't feel like talking, then you'll leave me no choice. I even gave you a chance to come out of this alive. Real shame you're just gonna waste it. What are you? Among the 7 mysteries, the resentful memory of the foot-washing mansion is particularly strong. You can't block it out by plugging your ears. As soon as you hear the voice of my curse echo, it's the end for you. A voice? I don't hear any voice. What? There's no way. Yet there he is, perfectly unharmed. Almost like someone messed with the options menu. How? What's going on here? I don't completely understand it myself, but his curse's conditions don't seem to have been met. This is my chance. Taro, your curse will work on me. I'll let you off easy today, so get out of here. You son of a... Fine. I'll just be on my way then. But mark my words, I'll make you regret this. That should be enough, right? Why? How is this? I keeps falling asleep. I really miss having a desk. Cursed of the Whispering Canal has gained 20% soul dregs. I'm there. Yeah, I've got way enough. I would think, as long as it takes 100%. Thank God, now I've gotten the last of the soul dregs I need. Is that just coincidence? He was unable to activate his curse for some reason. Things are going well. Luck must be on my side. Or someone on the other side of the screen. Well, I should check my curse stone. I should have gained a lot just now. What the... Oh. I think we're dead. Story chart unlocked. Okay, cool. So we died, I think. really glad we went to all that trouble. Pardon the interruption, but I'd like to take this chance to tell you about the story chart. This is a screen which will appear when you open the story chart. From here, not only can you see the overall structure of the current story, you can also progress along different branching routes by playing past stories over again. We could call this exactly the power that Shugooki had sought after. Normally you would have been able to use the story chart feature freely, however due to certain circumstances, it has been locked until now. And those circumstances were just me deciding you didn't get to use it. From here on, you will return the story chart from time to time at breaks in the story. Those times you will choose for yourself which story you wish to continue next. Neat. Use the story chart button on the menu to quit playing a chapter or return the story chart. Quit midway through a chapter that you haven't finished, you have to restart again from the beginning. Complete chapter, okay. The game will not return to a previous game state when resumed. If you return the story chart by using the suspend command that appears at certain points, it is the same as quitting and returning to the story chart. This is confusing to me without seeing a visual. There are 2 phases that must be completed to fully complete a chapter. If the chapter is finished while there are still tasks to be done, the chapter will not end but will remain incomplete. By the way, should you use the story chart to replay a past event? Do you know what you must do and where? Of course you do. After all, you've got this far. What trigger did Yoko Fukunaga set off that led to her dying the way she did? I've come this far several times, so I have every confidence you will be alright. Telling you to make sure not to do that thing. However, like with the lighter voice earlier, Shugooki has no way of knowing that himself. On that note, I am curious. Have you determined how many people Shugooki has killed with his curse? Alright, well now I gotta think. Let me go through. We gotta look at their faces. If we're counting her, which I don't think we did kill her. We haven't killed him. Or him, or him. We did kill him, so 1, 2. Okay, so only 2 appear on the person's interest, but there was more. So we killed these 2. There was the high school girl, 3. The random person who died when we lit our lighter, so 4. And then that woman, so 5. Hey, I see. So that is your understanding of things. As it turns out, the correct answer is 4. Okay, so we didn't kill one of them. Interesting. Well, that is all. Please continue the story at your leisure from the story chart screen. Okay, so there's an ending we could have had here. I don't even know how we're supposed to avoid this. Okay, so resume. Something's happening to Yoko. Whoa. What the hell? It feels like the air just changed. Is that just now? Okay, juice. Oh, that's why this thing was all messed up. Because that was the story chart option we didn't have. That's just gonna be dead. Oh. Yoko, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong? Stay with me. No, this can't be. Okay, so something's got Yoko really rattled. She died when we turned our back and looked at something. Yoko! So she's no condition to talk. Well, this is the only thing we could do different, is to not look behind us. Huh? What? Is calling her name really going to help? I'm already yelling as hard as I can. Should I look for what's causing this? There's nothing there. Yoko! Hang in there, Yoko. Look at me. You're going to be okay. It's alright. There's nothing there. Should die anyways? Yoko. Oh, well, it unlocked a new path. Interesting. Sugar cries Yoko's name in a desperate attempt to wake her. She lies, moving on the ground. Let's please get through to her. This is very, Zero Time Dilemma, whatever-esque. Same vibes with that story chart. 1 a.m. Kichiboy Park. Oh, good, you're awake. What would are you okay? You were so rattled and confused, I thought you'd really lost it. Do you feel dizzy? Have a headache? Are your humors off balance? Wait, what did you just say? I think I've heard that before. You're the one who said it earlier. Oh, right, that must have been it. My humors were off balance. What, back there? You ended up like that because of your humors? Yeah, I've heard that at this age, your humors being even a little bit off can be fatal. Glad you're back to normal now. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause you so much trouble. But I really don't remember what happened. Sounds like what happened to me. Maybe this place is dangerous somehow. What, are you backing out? Yeah, it just doesn't feel safe to me and I'm worried about you. It's very reasonable. Let's call off today's investigation. Come on, I just started feeling back to normal too. Nope, not happening. Go home. I'll even pay your cab fare, okay? Wow, it's very reasonable. I ended up having to force a still protesting Yoko into a taxi. Even then, she still wouldn't stop complaining. So to play safer, I promised I'd search the park on my own for a little while longer. So let's take number 2, man. Summary of previous events. Worried about Yoko after her bizarre incident, Shogo decides to call off their investigation into the mysteries for the night. Despite her stubborn objections, he manages to persuade her by offering to continue the search on his own. Man, I apologize, I feel like I sound super nasally. 5 a.m. in Shibuya Park. We probably didn't get very far without our little curse stone, right? In further news. Oh, well, definitely didn't get far, we died. Before dawn today, a police officer on patrol discovered a man collapsed in Sumida City Park. The man was taken to the hospital, but his death was confirmed shortly after. Investigations are still underway, but police suspect a connection to the other unexplained deaths found in the area at around the same time. Okay, so maybe Yoko is the curse bearer. And that's why we looked like drowned. I think there's supposed to be more to this game, so I don't think this is like the end credits. Oops, I unplugged my audio. We got the Rite of Resurrection. Well done in your efforts thus far. This brings Shogo Oki's story to a close. Ah, but this is not the end, far from it. In fact, this is where the story finally begins. The roots of the 3 protagonists have now been unlocked. Okay, so Shogo is just someone. Haru Shigima, a woman who lost her son when he was kidnapped and murdered. Wow. Tetsuo Tsusumi, the chief inspector of the 1st Investigative Division, was looking into the death of an officer in the line of duty. Yakako Sakazaki, oh my gosh, a high school girl who wants to bring her friend back from the dead. The girl who died in a suspicious suicide. Each of them is burdened with circumstances that leave them no choice but to seek the Rite of Resurrection. Following these 3 storylines will reveal the full nature of all that is occurring. Is the Rite of Resurrection just us going back to play the game to get a different storyline where they're alive? And that's like fulfilling the rite, performing the rite, whatever. With that, please enjoy the continuation of this tale. Now. Okay, cool. I kind of feel like mostly we'd probably start like this, but I kind of want to start from the bottom up. Yakaku Saka... I cannot say these names, I'm so sorry. Yako. That's what we're gonna go with. Yako Sakazaki searches for the rite of resurrection, hoping to revive her friend who jumped to her death. To get at the information she needs, she meets with her classmate Mio Kirizuzo in their classroom at midnight to attempt using a spirit board. Nice. Nothing could go wrong. 12 a.m. Kamagata High School. Nice little hairpin. That should be everything. Okay, let's start. Ready for this, Yako? I'm ready. Let's go. Okay, I'm ready. Yako Sakazaki, high school student. Oh, we still keep all our information from the other people? Nice. Okay. Yako Sakazaki is a female high school student. We don't know what her curse echo is. Yako is a student in Class 2C at Kamagata High School. Unable to comprehend why her childhood friend and classmate, Michio Shireshi, committed suicide, she attempted to investigate the incident herself. However, she was unable to make any progress and, feeling desperate, invited transfer student Mio Kirizuzo to join her in performing a spirit board ritual. Born and raised in Hanjo, Sumida City, Yako's family has owned and operated the beloved candy shop Senoya since its establishment in the early Showa era. Despite her modest appearance, Yako is a cheerful and vivacious young woman with a sense of duty and compassion so strong that she is easily moved to tears. She is also a bit quick-tempered and quarrelsome, always prepared to stand up against those who harm her family or friends. It is possible, however, that this readiness to fight is more driven by innate love of chaos. Yako's winning streak against arrogant boys and scraps since she was a child remains unbroken, and is the source of considerable stress for her mother. Alright, we sound awesome. Alright, let's start. This is the spirit board. This is how it'll be. I feel like she needs a different voice. Kind of like what I'd started out with for her. This is the spirit board. This is how we'll be communicating. First, we put a finger on the 10 yen coin that's on the board, okay? Like this. Just like that. Relax your finger as much as you can. Now for the chant. Repeat what I say, okay? Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board, please visit us. Your turn. We could get the spelling wrong, be like Scepter? Spectre? Spirit? Spectre of the Spirit Board. Did I get it wrong? I think I might have done it wrong. Yeah, I did it wrong. I did Spirit Board. You're a little off. Huh? Just relax. I'll say it again. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board, please visit us. Don't misspell board. Okay, got it. Spectre of the Spirit Board. Spectre of the Spirit Board, not misspelled. Please visit us. Spectre of the Spirit Board, Spectre of the Spirit Board, please visit us. Good. Please tell us if you are there. I moved to yes. And I did not touch it. You can see my cursor. Oh, it really moved. Looks like we succeeded in the summoning. We can ask questions now. Right. Questions. Start with a question you know the answer to. See the response. Then, when you know your questions are being answered truthfully, you ask what you really want to know. Okay, I'll start with something simple. Where's this place? Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board, where are we? H-I-G-H. High school? Ah. Neat. Okay. High school. They spelled it out for us. Cool. High school, that's right. The answers don't seem to be very precise. Okay. What is my name? I think you should know the answer to this. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. What is my name? Huh? What's the matter? That's strange. No. Tell me no. I bet it means it doesn't know. Maybe the specter of the spirit board, but it doesn't know everything. Is the spirit really the real deal? Yes. Don't even question me. It's fine. I feel like it's giving me attitude. What is this girl's name? Fine, what is the name of the girl across from me? Oh, it knows that one. I guess, did we say it at some point? Mio, that's right. Let's check. Well, she said our name. But we did not say Mio's name, I don't think. Weird. Good. That's not fair. It knows your name, Mio. It even used that weird character you used to spell your name. How flattering. Sidekick girl, Mio Kuruzuzu. I think I said it wrong. Persons of interest page updated. Okay, Mio Kuruzuzu, female high school student. Mio transferred to Class 2C at Kamagata High School about 2 months ago. Although she's an extremely mild-mannered young woman, she exudes a somewhat off-putting dark aura, which makes it difficult for her to form friendships. Mio has, however, found a friend in her classmate Yako Sakazaki, and has begun opening up to her little by little. The truth of the matter is that Mio is the apprentice of a famous psychic. Possessing exceptional spirit sense, she takes on the troublesome task of surreptitiously handling spiritual disturbances that break out in schools across Tokyo before they become a problem. She transfers schools frequently as a result, and thus has trouble making human friends. Mio has already solved an incident at Kamagata High School involving a female student possessed by spirit. Although she takes effort to hide her spirit sense, many develop an impression that Mio has a deep knowledge of the occult and the paranormal upon first meeting her, leading her to be anxious that her secrets have been exposed. The most common comment she receives is that she seems to get along well with crows and black cats. Very weird comment to get often. I bet, even the teachers get it wrong all the time. Guess these paranormal beings just tend to take a liking to you. Huh, I don't know how I should feel about that. Yeah, well, this is still an option, and there are more things that haven't been done yet. Or like, it doesn't have the check mark by it, so I'll ask it again. What is my name? No. Alright, so are we gonna get the check mark this time? Didn't even hesitate this time. Is it really you? Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Are you truly the Spectre of the Spirit Board? No. Huh? It said no as a line? Not quite. The Spectre of the Spirit Board is just a temporary name we call them when using the board. We're actually calling a spirit with a strong tie to this place, or one of the people participating. In other words, a spirit that just happened to be nearby, just felt like answering. They don't really think of themselves as the Spectre of the Spirit Board. Oh, really? Huh. Feels like some of the mystique has disappeared. Do you mind if I still call you the Spectre of the Spirit Board? Yes, I do mind. Yes, okay. Thanks. Always good to remember- oh wait. Always good to remember to say please and thank you. So, Spirit Board. Due to the occult craze, divination has become popular among young boys and girls. All one needs is a coin and a piece of paper with letters and numbers written on it. Using these, all one has to do is ask a question of the called upon spirit and it will move the coin and answer. It is believed to be a tool that was adopted from Western spiritualism and molded by Japanese occult enthusiasts. It is considered a form of divination. The ritualistic nature of its usage can cause self-hypnosis or autosuggestion, leading to hallucinations or symptoms similar to spirit possession. Many schools banned these spirit boards after there were several cases of students sneaking into schools at night, in addition to stories of people having seizures when using the boards. Weird. Alright, it's time to try asking serious questions. Yeah. Who does Mio have a crush on? Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board, what is the name of the boy Mio has a crush on? Hey, you're going to ask that kind of question? Doesn't everyone ask this kind of stuff with spirit boards? Besides, I'm curious. No, let's not do this. No. It said no. Guess that must mean you don't have a crush on anyone. Phew. Yeah, that's it. That was correct. Let's move on. Or maybe... Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Do you mean the boy isn't in our class? Wow. Hey, stop that. Don't make me exercise you. If that's the case, then... Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Is it a teacher at our school? No good, huh? Phew. She's really, like, not giving herself... She's not helping herself by being all like, whew, oh good, let's move on. Yako, cut it out already. We made the effort to sneak in at night. We shouldn't waste time with these questions. You've got a point. But it was funny. Michio's cause of death. Okay, here I go. I'll be serious now. Yes, please. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Did Michio Shirashi in our class, who died by committing suicide by jumping 1 week ago, really commit suicide? No. So it really wasn't. I'm not surprised. I never believed it from the start. Now it's the important part. Yeah. I feel like Mio has a crush on us. Michio Shirashi, female, high school student. Kursako, none. Michio was a second-year student at Kamagata High School. She was found deceased 1 week ago in a back alley off South Wiraguchi Street, her entire body broken and severely contorted. Sounds like a terrible way to go. Police determined that Michio committed suicide by jumping from a nearby apartment building. As there was no suicide note, the police based their conclusion on interviews with Michio's peers. Michio was an honor student with a good head on her shoulders and consistently excellent grades, making her a favorite among the teachers. Although she appeared somewhat reserved, she had a positive outlook on life and a courageous spirit. Michio and Yako formed a long-lasting friendship during childhood, with Yako's unbending, uncompromising attitude deeply influencing Michio. However, beneath her strong exterior, Michio had been pushing herself too hard and keeping her emotions bottled up, to the point that they risked overflowing. Following her father's death 3 years ago and moving to a new house, Michio began avoiding Yako. Although the two remained in the same area of town and attended the same high school, they gradually grew further apart. Yako herself worried for her childhood friend, but incapable of wading into complexities of Michio's home life, kept her distance. The days passed, and though Michio longed to confess everything to Yako, the moment to do so never came. Michio carried an old talisman, a memento of her father, with her at all times. But we'll find it at some point. Michio's cause of death. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. Did Michio Shirashi die in an accident? No. Oh, yes, okay. It said yes. So it was an accident, not a suicide. Michio. And did she slip and fall from that apartment building? No. Huh? She didn't. What do you mean? Michio didn't die falling from the apartment building? No way. If that were true, then why was she lying on the ground like that in the back alley of the apartment building? It was an accident, but not a fall. Oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. What happened to Michio on that day? Be like, I don't even know. Just gonna be spelling out for a long time. Seems like it. Oh wait. Seems like it doesn't know the details. Where's the rite of resurrection? And does Mio know about it? Is that why we're asking? And how about, oh, Spectre of the Spirit Board. We want to use that rite of resurrection to bring Michio back to life. Do you know where the rite of resurrection is? I wonder. Huh? Oh. Ah! What is this? Stop, I'm scared, Mio. Calm down, you can't let go before it's over. Ah! That's terrifying. Such deep sorrow, and resentful memories flowing into my mind. Fool's procession, those who hear it shall fall into the depths of hell. Kill them. Kill them! Those who hear this sound, kill them all. I've acquired the power of the curse stone, the Fool's procession. You can use it to kill those who hear the sound produced by the curse echo for more than 30 seconds. The effect will be negated if you are seen in that time. Press the use curse button to produce the sound. Okay, so this was updated. Kills by fatal fall. Okay, I see. One who hears its music for 30 seconds without seeing the curse bearer. Is this how Michio died? She got the cursed power. She's trying to bring her father back, and she ended up killing herself accidentally. Resentful memory. Mio stood atop the tall festival tower. It was her time to shine, and she was ecstatic. It had been years since she joined the troupe, but she had yet to enjoy her day in the spotlight. She wasn't particularly pretty, nor was she all that talented. As a gossip and a loudmouth, she wasn't well liked by her peers. Some of the other girls thought of her as a teacher's pet and bullied her. I don't care about them, she thought. I'll use this chance to make something of myself. Everything was perfect. She wore a beautiful kimono and an okami mask over her face. The stage was set. The accompaniment began. She danced with everything she had. Applause rained down upon her from the crowd. Her breathing hastened with excitement. I've got to catch my breath. That's strange, I can't take my mask off. The smell of glue assaulted her nostrils. So that's how it is. I knew it was too good to be true. Her screams were drowned out by the music as she squirmed and struggled. Omio is giving it her all today. We have to keep up, the crowd livened even more. No, please, someone help me. She fell from the tower, writhing in pain as she begged those around her for help. The music stopped in time with Omio's heart. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now. Kill. Can you hear it, Crisper? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. Okay, do we want to just keep going with I feel like maybe we could jump between them. That could be fun, right? So crime scene investigation, Tetsuo Tsusumi. Tetsuo Tsusumi, Chief Inspector of the Metropolitan Police Department. First Investigating Division is investigating the mysterious death of a fellow officer. He visits the scene of the incident, the former Yasuda Gardens, with his subordinate Jun Yu. Okay, 11 p.m. So an hour before we do the spirit board thing with Yako, former Yasuda Gardens. Hey boss, forensics is all done. The crime scene is clean. The other officers have all gone home. It's just us now. The park should be able to open up back tomorrow like nothing ever happened. I doubt it'll get many visitors after everything that's happened. Be surprised, lots of people love that kind of thing. I bet they'll be lining up to get in. Occult stuff is really popular now. Did you not know that, boss? Sounds stupid. Well, it's not exactly rooted in science, but if ghosts really did exist, we could just ask them who the perp is. Somehow I doubt it'd be that simple. Oh, but I've heard that high school girls are really into the spirit board thing these days. Supposedly you can call in spirits and talk to them by using a board with letters on it. Wouldn't that be something? You could try it out yourself if you're so interested. It's not a bad idea. Let's give it a go sometime, boss. What now? Stop messing around. You really think we're gonna solve this case by moving a coin across a scrap of paper? Sounds like you know all about it. We've got to be open-minded. Well, if that's how police work is gonna be from now on. Don't make me laugh. Listen up, Ariel. You can't go blaming the death of your buddy on something like the occult. I don't care if it was ghosts or the occult or what. Whoever or whatever it was that did this. I'll get them. I promise you that. Well, you've got the right attitude, but we don't even know if this is a murder yet. Biases weaken our judgment. Get too fixated on one thing and you stop seeing everything else. Aye, boss. So, now that we've finished investigating the scene, let's review what we know. Now? It's getting late. Figured we'd head straight home from here. Come on, we've got to go over all the info we gathered. What better place to do that than here at the scene of the crime where we could soak up the atmosphere? Soak up the atmosphere? The hell's there to soak up? You must be really into this occult stuff if you get off on being in a place like this. Wait, you mean being somewhere like this doesn't get your blood pumping? No way. No, don't turn this around on me. I'm not the weird one here. Cripes. Fine. Let's get this over with. Aye, boss. Former Yasuda Gardens here in Yokomai Ichome were originally built as part of a daimyo's estate back in the Edo period. The park became city property a number of years ago and underwent extensive renovations. There's not a soul around at this time of night. Quiet doesn't even begin to describe it. This pond, they say it used to flow into the Sumida River. But the river became so polluted that they cut it off. Jun Uriel, a detective in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, 1st Investigative Division. His rank is sergeant. This is his first time leading a case. It's like he's graduated from rookie to newbie. He looks put together on the outside, but acts like a kid most of the time. Honestly, the force could use more people like him. Really? About the case. So early in the morning yesterday, a staff member found the victim collapsed here in the park and called the police when they realized he was dead. While there was no obvious external wounds, the fact that he was a police officer and the evidence of a struggle means it's likely that this was a murder. The Sumida office sent it over to us since it involved the death of an officer, and we were tasked with the investigation. What we need to do is figure out what happened and whether there was foul play involved. I think that about sums things up. But either way, I'm so glad you're back in the 1st Division, boss. I've always admired your work. You were like a god to me. You were the whole reason I became a detective in the first place. Yeah, about that. People have been saying that ever since you first entered the academy, but... Yes, that's because it's true. I couldn't believe you got transferred out of the 1st just as I was assigned to it. Just getting to work a case like this now, just the two of us, is a dream come true. Happy as I am to hear that, well, how should I put it? What is it? That's true, I'm not sure you've been showing me the appropriate amount of respect. Oh, but I do respect you. Don't tell me you're going senile, boss. That's exactly what I'm talking about. When you run your mouth like that. It's getting late. You must be sleepy. Don't worry, boss. I'll make sure we get out of here soon. Yeah, I get it. The victim is Hajime Yoshimi of the Juvenile Division of the Sumida City Community Safety Bureau, 27 years old, single. He mostly dealt with cases involving juveniles and education. His rank was senior police officer. You knew him well, didn't ya? What was he like? Yes, we were in the academy together. We still went out for drinks together every month or two. He could be a little rowdy, but he was like a big brother to us all. He was kind and cared about his friends. For better or worse, he wasn't the uptight type of cop. The man always showed empathy, and I heard he was popular with the locals for it. He treated each and every troubled kid he met with compassion. He had a great track record when it came to rehabilitation. Sounds like we lost a good one. Yes, we did. We truly did. I knew being a cop was dangerous. I knew something like this could happen, but it's never easy when it happens for real. I know the feeling. He didn't seem to care much about climbing the ranks, but he was at the top of our class. The only problem was that he took on so much. He had the most unfinished paperwork, too. I always felt like we needed an unusual guy like him to help us solve all our unusual cases. Okay, so Hajime Yoshimi, a male community safety officer with no curse echo. Hajime was a police officer with the Sumida City Community Safety Bureau and was primarily responsible for juvenile and education cases. He held the rank of head patrol officer and entered the force at the same time as Jun Iriya. Hajime was found dead under mysterious circumstances at the former Yasuda Gardens early in the morning yesterday. Once a rebellious gang member himself, Yoshimi turned his life around and used his own experiences to connect a troubled youth as a police officer. While his appearance and demeanor suggested a man who was rough around the edges, he was a passionate, loyal, and caring man at heart, looked up to as a big brother by his peers. Yoshimi achieved stellar results in his work with juvenile cases, but his consistently sloppy paperwork and less than formal attitude essentially doomed his career and had him writing formal apologies on the regular. He left behind a fiancée whom he had been dating since high school. Well, I guess he wasn't really single then, was he? Just saying. Don't worry, you're plenty unusual yourself. Me? I was the most normal of my classmates. Besides, the real weirdo among us quit the academy a long time ago. There's one even weirder than you? Are you gonna talk about that? I've got a bad feeling about this case, and my gut is really wrong. I knew this would be a treacherous case from the moment we were dragged into it. Oh my gosh, so much to go through. It's all just occult stuff. Have you heard about it, boss? What are you talking about? This rite of resurrection thing that everyone's talking about. No, not you too. I've been hearing about that everywhere. Oh, you have? That's surprising. Who cares what people are talking about? It's got nothing to do with their job. But don't you think this occult stuff with the case feels, I don't know, realer somehow? The whole thing started right here in Hanzhou in Sumida City, so I thought that maybe... Cut it out. Nothing good can come of getting involved with that right of whatever, that record of fates. Sounds like you know all about it. Boss, are you secretly into the occult? Stop that. Seriously. This isn't a joke. I get why you'd be intrigued by something called the Rite of Resurrection after a buddy of yours died, but... Bringing the dead back to life? That's the stuff of fantasy. It's not real. So don't go hoping for miracles. Got it? Oh boy, I've been wowed by your shrewd detecting abilities all day. Oh really? Funny, I've been wowed by you too. Okay, I guess we'll have to come back to that to finish it off. About the cause of death. So for the cause of death, we won't know until the autopsy is done. From what we've seen, though, it appeared to be some kind of acute heart failure. But since he had no record of chronic illness and had no visible wounds, it's possible that poison or drugs could have been involved. Dying in the middle of the park like that certainly seems suspicious. We found signs of a struggle at the scene, as well as footprints belonging to an unidentified individual. We've got people trying to identify those prints. If we can find who they belong to, we might be able to figure out this whole thing out. Yes, wouldn't that be nice if that were the end of it? The only things Hajime had on him were his badge and his wallet in his pockets, so we can roll out a mugging. Though there probably aren't too many people who think to try mugging a cop as big as him. I also heard that Hajime got into a fair few fights in his younger days. He started judo once he became an officer and rose up the ranks quickly. Sounds like the perp would have to have been pretty strong to take on Hajime. But, boss, yeah. Is this case really important enough to assign to someone from the investigation division? I mean, a friend of mine died, so it's important to me, but it's all up to the higher-ups. I'm sure they've got their reasons. Boss, you know something, don't you? It'll all become clear in time. Try not to worry about it too much. Thinking about it, the only thing we know for sure is the identity of the victim. It means there must have been something special about him, right? Maybe he knew something he wasn't supposed to, some kind of secret or something. Isn't that right? Pretty sharp sometimes, you know that? If you picked up on that, you should be able to put the rest together yourself. How have we not gone through all of this? The time of death was around 11 p.m. 2 days ago, outside the park's operating hours, of course. His body was found early in the morning yesterday, 11 p.m. the day before yesterday. What was Hajime doing out here at that time in the first place? It's a question, isn't it? The entrance to the park is closed after hours, but it's a small gate that'd be fairly easy for him to get through if he really wanted to. That would, of course, be breaking and entering, but what do you think, boss? Someone called him here, he came here to hide something. I feel like probably that first one. It's hard to imagine a cop like Hajime would trespass for no reason. And since it seems like someone else is here with him, could they have called him here? Oh, that does seem likely. They must have been talking about something pretty sensitive to come here in the middle of the night. So Hajime met someone here to discuss something in secret, and then they got into a fight? No, that wouldn't match the cause of death. There were no wounds on the body that would indicate a spontaneous scuffle. The perp must have planned it something. Then you think it was meditated? That would mean they called Hajime to the park with the intent to kill him? Well, there's still the possibility that it was just some kind of accident. Maybe the perp tried to threaten Hajime and things went south from there. We should be able to get a clear picture once we know exactly what killed him. Right. Hajime was quite the bad boy in school, apparently. He ended up with the police a lot. He said the officer in charge was good to him, helped him get back on track. The reason he wanted to become a cop was to pay his kindness forward. He said it was the first time he ever took his studies seriously. It's a good story. Love that kind of thing. Makes me want to have a drink in his honor. Please don't make fun of my dead friend. Yeah, I said in his honor, you should aspire to become the kind of cop people miss when they die in the field. Say that like it's a sure thing I'll die. Besides, if I end up biting it, I'm sure you'll be the one who misses me most, boss. Come on, don't be like that. You'll hurt morale. Well, I guess how much I'll miss you depends on how this investigation goes. I can already see it. Ario, no! Why'd you have to go and get yourself killed? I have no idea what's going on in that head of yours. Yeah, that'll be a sight to see. I can't wait. Can't wait for your own death. Get it together, kid. Sheesh, you really are something. Thank you. I've been wowed by your shrewd detecting skills all day. Oh, really? Funny, I've been wowed by you too. Gosh, what about the victim's family? The Yoshimi family is from Kitsusenju in Adachi City, but Hajime's parents died a long time ago. He lived there all alone, no siblings or anything. I went to his house a few times for drinks. I was surprised. It's this huge old-looking place. Like, you know, the kind of place that seems super haunted. And he lived there alone. It looks like the home of an old noble family. It's hard to imagine him being such a delinquent living in a house like that. There's that bias I was talking about. If he's from an old family, sure, things were complicated. That's a bias, too. We never talked about any of that, even when we were drunk, so I don't know much about it. Oh, one more thing. Yeah? Hajime was engaged, so he wasn't single like he said. He's been seeing his fiancée ever since they were in high school. Over 10 years. They just started thinking about getting married. What was her name again? He showed me a picture once. She was a beautiful woman. That's so terrible for her. Is it that lady who wanted to bring her son back? She may know if there'd been anything going on with him lately. We should speak to her. Yeah, his fiancée may have been his only confidant. I'm sure someone in the Sumida Police Department has already contacted her. I'll look into it tomorrow. If you have tomorrow. Well, it is our duty to get to the bottom of a suspicious death, especially when involving an officer. Are we almost done? On the topic of family, what's yours like, boss? What the hell's wrong with you? Prying in my personal life all of a sudden. It's just I've never heard you talk about them or anything. Oh, are you single? Shut it. That's none of your business. Well, ever since I joined the force, I've been thinking. The department really pressures young officers to get married. I wonder why that is. You don't say anything like that, though. How should I know? I caved to the pressure myself and got married 20-some years ago. Huh, so then... You're relentless. She took our daughter and left 4 years ago. Thanks for reminding me. Oh, I'm sorry. Can't believe she gave up on a guy like you. I was never home much. Too focused on work. I'd come home late only to get called right back out again. Plus, being a cop is dangerous work. I don't blame her for getting fed up with it all. Is this gonna be like Yako's dad or something? How sad. Especially when you're out here putting your life on the line. Oh, is that why you transferred out of the first? It was already too late by then. You better be careful, Ario. You say that, but there's not much I can do, is there? It's the nature of our job. There are many who could really understand it, not unless they're involved with police work themselves related to someone who is. But wait, you have a daughter, boss. Really think I want to talk about her after all that? Have some sense. Come on, I promise I don't mean this in the way it sounds, but how old is she? You don't want to quit, do you? At least try not to look so intrigued. She's a bit rougher on the edges. I think most men are intimidated by her. Last I heard, she's living by herself and going to college. Oh, okay, so not that high school student. Wow, a college student. Men love an educated lady. Stop that. What kind of cop are you making baseless assumptions like that? She's living on her own, though, huh? You must worry about her. Worry, I don't even know where she lives. Oh, so she hasn't told you. Probably because she knows you'd follow her around everywhere. I would not, I don't think. Come on now, we both know that's not true. Listen here. You look like a mean old man, but you sure have a soft side. What? Is that supposed to be a compliment? I can't keep up with you. We're done talking about this. Hey boss, I looked in the case that Hajime was running. Oh great, that's the kind of stuff I want to know. What was Hajime working on the day he died? Well, according to his report from the day before, he had 2 cases involving juveniles. The first was the suicide of a high school girl who jumped off a building in Kamizawa last week. I did hear about that. The girl's name was Michio Shirashi. She was a 2nd-year student at Kamagata High School. Okay, so we knew about this one. It seems as though Hajime had had contact with her even before this incident. So she'd been in trouble for some time. That's the thing. About a month ago, he happened to see her walking around town. She looked upset, so he struck up a conversation with her. He was sure there was something bothering her, but she wouldn't tell him what. He must have been in trouble at home. That's what he thought too. Seems like he visited her home and spoke to her parents, but they said there was no problem, so there was nothing else he could do. And now she's dead. It's possible he could have prevented her suicide then. He must have been devastated. That's why he's looking into this Michio Shirashi again. He must have thought that something terrible had happened that drove her to end her life. But ultimately, he never reported the findings of his investigation. I see. You're thinking that it may have had something to do with his death. But to find out what it is Tsujimi discovered. Right. Let's check with Sumida Police Department about that tomorrow, too. Oh, that reminds me. If you got married 20 years ago, it must have been right around the Najima murder. You know your history. Yeah, that happened a year or two after our wedding. You were the one who arrested the killer, weren't you? You studied that case at the academy. I was only in elementary school at the time, but I still remember people talking about some dangerous criminal getting arrested. Well, that was just cracking the case, finding a guy. It was all just happenstance. I'd really rather not think about it. It was a disturbing case. Did it not make your skin crawl when you learned about it at the academy? It did. We were all terrified. Sounds about right. No one could believe that such a mild-mannered man could have committed such a terrible murder. If we had overlooked one little thing, we may never have caught him at all. I think I remember hearing there was only one charge brought against him in the end. That's right, we didn't have the evidence. I knew there was no way such a meticulously planned crime could have been there first, but may have stuck Fumichimi Nijima in a cell, but it was no victory. He always had the upper hand. And all the damage he did to everyone involved, especially the victim's classmates. It's already been 20 years, huh? This is why I try not to think about it. I'm sorry. Okay, so the Najima murders overview. So much reading. A notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murder of a female high school student. It first came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human left hand was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Testing revealed it belonged to a missing female high school student. As it appeared to have been severed. Sorry, my bad. Deliberately, the police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of... I mean, you would find it quite odd to find just a hand floating in the river, right? Anyways, whatever. A large-scale search of the river was organized, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be part of her leg before the search was called off. Is that what, the leg things were? And that curse the one guy had with the glasses. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks festival to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentified human bones. This caused a stir among the public as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area. It was feared they may have fallen victims to the same fate. Forensic technologies at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identities of the deceased, and so the police were unable to open any inquiries. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt until a hitherto unrelated individual came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Najima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the general public. An investigation into his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Najima testified that he had snatched his victim from the street and confined her in the underground storeroom of his shop, which also served as his living quarters. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, and severed her fingers and toes with a box cutter while she was still conscious. As she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inward slowly and methodically. His victim constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. His ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Yeah, I was like, when she died, before that, Jima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom and returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Najima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me. I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse. Although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggested that he had committed similar crimes in the past, no corroborating evidence ever came to light. Najima was sentenced to life in prison at his first hearing. The sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. Okay, so maybe he was a curse bearer too. And You have to torture for that curse to work or something. That was the other case he was working. This one is also related to a Komagata High student. A troublemaker named Hitomi Okuda. She seems to be the leader of a group of kids who get up to no good. Hitomi. Juvenile delinquency. Fun. She was pretty bad for a while. Multiple charges of destruction of property, assault, and battery, you name it. Hajime had been working with her for about 6 months, and she was finally starting to open up. Then, he met with the girl the day he died. Well, every school's got its problems. But I'm sure he'd be worried about how she'd get on without him. Right. Just when she'd finally found an adult she could trust, she might act without someone to help her get through this. Or she might act out without. Got it. We'll have to make sure the Sumida Community Safety Bureau does their job. But, can't rule out the possibility that meeting with this delinquent girl had something to do with his death. Then we'll have to interview her too. Ah, yes, you're right. She may have been the last person to see him alive after all. I'll ask Sumida to introduce us tomorrow. Though, who knows if they'll actually let us talk with her. That's what we hired you for. Lay a little boyish charm on them if they need convincing. Yeah, I'm sure they'd prefer me over a scary-looking old man like you, boss. Watch it, I'm still your superior. You ought to act like you respect me, at least. Oh, I thought I was. You were? Is that just how your generation speaks? You really are a new breed. Well, it's probably just me, actually. Oh, well, don't think you can get away with that with other people. So anyways, boss, were you even listening? I've got quite a bit to look into tomorrow. First, the 2 Komagata High School cases that Hajime was handling. We need to speak with his fiancée as well. I believe that's it for tomorrow. Oh boy, okay. There's the notes. Oh, there we go, we hadn't looked at the scene. This is where the victim was found. It's clean now. It almost feels like nothing happened here at all. Once an incident like this has come to pass, there's no going back. Not that knowing that is any consolation. Well, boss, I think that about does it. Alright, let's call it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, what is that? Huh? Boss, what's wrong? Don't tell me you're going see now. Just really popped out of nowhere. Damn it. It was that case all along. Boss? What is it? Is something over there? Ah! Such deep sorrow. Resentful memories flowing into my mind. Falsehoods and hung up forever in eternal darkness. Kill them. Kill them. Those who spread lies. Kill them all. You've acquired the power of the cursed stone, the evergreen beech. You can use it to kill those who intentionally try to mislead you. Oh. Press the use curse button when someone lies to you. Oh, interesting. Kills by hanging one who tries to mislead the curse bearer with false statements. Resentful memory. He deceived us with his so-called right of resurrection. The man who tricked the people with his false dark arts swings from a rope. They thought the man had escaped the previous night, but oddly enough, he was found hanging in the garden of the daimyo's mansion that morning. The man, a local named Jin Kichi, was known for his kind temperament and skill in crafting Netsuke clasps. While his life wasn't always easy, he was optimistic, the type to smile through whatever life threw at him. He was the kind of man who would take care of those who didn't have anyone else to rely on. Sounds like our buddy cop. The prosperity that the ukiyo-e boom brought must have been what fanned the flames of his greed. The little craftsman was found in a miserable state, as if sentenced to some cruel fate. Perhaps he'd ended his own life, unable to bear the weight of his crime. But dead men tell no tales, and people thought of him as a bad man even in death. Young lived for days, till his neck stretched horrifically, a visage of pain still etched on his face. It's clear he must have struggled greatly as he died, his flesh marked with dark scars where the rope wrapped around his whole body. The beech tree's leaves do not fall, and neither did the man's body hanging from it. His mansion's owner was not at home. Another unfortunate event. The people held their tongues fearing divine punishment, but the rumors persisted nonetheless. Murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now, kill. Can you hear it, Curse Bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. Who do we want to bring back? Is it like our wife and daughter? Is our daughter actually dead? Boss. Boss, what's the matter? Don't tell me you really went senile. Sorry. I'm fine. There you go. Yes? I have some bad news. Oh no, your senility is kicking in, isn't it? No, we've got a bit of trouble on our hands. Looks like we'll be working some overtime. We're not going home tonight. Huh? What are you talking about? Alright. So it leaves us with Harushigima. Nothing has changed with his storyline. It's kind of interesting. It shows like the time of day at the top. So not dreams. Harushigima. When the son of Harushigima was kidnapped, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. 1 year later, Haru has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsettled case. Late at night, while speaking to the detective at her home, something strange suddenly appears. May those who mock fire's flame perish in flame. Kill them. Kill them. The flame bearers. Kill them all. Alright, so if they bear flame, we can kill them. You acquired the power of the curse stone, the Haunting Clappers. You can use it to kill those with fire or a fire-starting device on a person. Oh, okay. Press the use curse button to set your target alight. Okay. We just started out immediately on that one. Kills by burning one who is in a position of fire or a fire-starting device. Resentful memory. Red. 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 Everything has dyed crimson. My home is burning to the ground. It's hot. So hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right. I'll just use the clappers. Clack, clack. Is anybody there? Clack, clack. Why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? Oh, right. Her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch! Those hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How many innocent people did I lure under orders? This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell feels like my head will split open. Alright, the evening bell. It must be why nobody can hear the sound of my clappers. Got to do it louder. Clack, clack. The murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now. Kill. Can you hear it, Curse Bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. Shigima Mansion Reception Room. Oh, she's got a mansion. Oh, fancy lady. Back with me, ma'am. Oh, that's what she told Shogo to call her, ma'am. Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I've ever really seen you smile. Is that her smile? Sweet dreams? I'll swipe. Harushigima. I'll swipe the Haunting Clappers. Haru is a housewife who resides in a manor near Shimoka Bridge. Her 11-year-old son, Shuichi, was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was the result of a mistake on the part of the detective assigned to the case, a mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police, leaving no room for negotiation. I guess that might have something to do with our police. I don't know. The incident was covered up, and Shuichi's killer remains at large, leading the aggrieved Haru to call on the services of private investigator Richter Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigima family came from a long line of samurai who built their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many in the Shigima line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Haru's father sits in the upper echelons of the National Police Agency. Her husband, adopted into the Shigima clan through an arranged marriage, is also a highly respected agency official. However, as her family prioritizes work above all else, it wasn't long before Haru's marriage grew cold. Though she wants for nothing, she's isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Haru a purpose in life, but it was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Haru spent many days in a deep depression, breaking into sudden fits of shouting and wandering around in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took to making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Haru's husband was transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home, with Haru left to live in the large, empty mansion alone. As a housekeeper who has been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of all the housework, Haru has nothing but time on her hands. Oh. No. Not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. It's been hanging here since before I was born? Yeah. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. I don't even know what the flowers are called. Stereo unit with separated speakers designed for home use. My husband insisted on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. I mean, it seems like you could probably solve some of these problems of having nothing to do. Like, just be like, hey, maybe don't hire someone to do the flowers. Well, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is? Goodness, you made me jump. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or other. He put it up just before, well, you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. It's a chicken. I knew it. It's head Hensho from way back in set number 1. This is a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the mockingbirds. The what? They're the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they won everybody's hearts. The story goes that they're made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations, like Banksy. But with chickens. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. Do you think one would turn up here of all places? This is a good sign, I'm sure of it. Oh, well, that's nice. We got Mocking Chick as an achievement. These popular bird mascot stickers seem to pop up everywhere. Nobody knows. These are all the ones I can find. Oh my gosh. Nobody knows who the legendary artist is behind these quirky birds, but they quickly became popular for their surreal yet oddly cute designs. Be in the right place at the right time in Hanzhou, and you might just be able to find all 20 of them scattered around. Legend has it collecting them all will bring good luck. Maybe that's key to getting a good ending. We got Head Hanzhou. Nice. And they all have names, which probably hints at where you find them, I guess. Color television. Father bought one as soon as it hit the market. He likes to have the latest gadgets. Unlike the latest models, there's no remote control. I've had it for a long time. Back when it was new, we all gathered around it and marveled at it as a family. But with Father and my husband being away so often, it quickly fell into disuse. Swinging of the pendulum echoes through the room. Feels livelier than usual with Richter here. Usually it's just me. Oh, she needs a friend. The lights. The chandelier is the only thing in here that's my choice. It's my favorite part of the room. Fax machine. It can send images to other places along the telephone network. I don't really know how it works. Most houses don't have one. I rarely find a use for it. I had to fax something once. Fun fact. Like, within the past couple of years. And I was just like, why can't I email this to you? The guest table. I don't know where Father got this old thing from, but I've never really liked it. A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Oda City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort. Gay? Perseko? None. The eccentric man that Shugo Oki ran into at Hoanji Bridge. Richter is actually a private investigator with an office in Oda City, Tokyo. Taking on a request from Haru Shigema to investigate the unsolved kidnapping and murder of her son, he gets caught up in the events surrounding the Rite of Resurrection. I wonder if, her son was kidnapped by the same person who kidnapped... Well, I guess he's in prison, so maybe not. But, the girl who, got her fingers cut off by box cutters. Just saying. Once a police officer, Richter was racked with guilt over the police's inability to help all those in need. and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. Okay. However, his soft-hearted nature leads him to take on too many cases and has put his office in dire financial straits. How he is still in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Richter studied alongside Detective Jun Irio at the police academy. Somewhat surprisingly, given his outlandish clothing and mannerisms, Richter excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets. He proudly refers to himself as an investigator extraordinaire, though that only ever succeeds at impressing himself. Richter's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his pet female albino parakeet, Ernestine, which he keeps in his office. He also enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds inexplicably dressed like delinquents. He can be frequently sighted searching around town for them. While out and about, Richter typically leaves the office, and more importantly, Ernestine, in the care of Emma Mori, a junior high schooler who volunteered to assist Richter after being involved in a previous case. Cool. Just more to read. Richter Kai's private investigate. Okay, Azure Heron Agency, named after a bird. Oh boy. Richter Kai's private investigation firm in Kamada, Oda City. Originally, Kai thought to give it a simple name like Kai's Detective Agency, but upon hearing that people are more likely to pick names listed at the front of the phone book alphabetically, he decided to pick a name starting with an A. Okay, Okay. Although there are no formal qualifications necessary to become a private investigator, many are retired police agents. Okay. Let me bring you up to speed. You were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out. And the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. I would not be grinning to myself if I had that vision. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Is she gonna just tell him? Interesting, very interesting. So the haunting clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. Okay, so we just told him. Told you how to perform the rite of resurrection and gave you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe, but I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. Looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that there's some supernatural force at work. My heart's still racing. This is it, my chance, at long last. Oh, there's a rotary phone we didn't look at. A telephone. This mansion has a private line. Okay, interesting. I don't think you quite understand. Oh? This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched onto my soul, along with the curse's echoes, resentful memories. So I could feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did, hundreds of years ago. Wreathed in flame, writhing in pain as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. Richter's like, okay. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do, just as long as they're carrying fire. Is that why he was like, oh good, you have a lighter. You should keep it. Because he's helping her get the souls? Gosh. I see, that could be a problem. Think so? From what I know of you, I was sure you'd see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. Yeah. I say we take stock for a moment. Remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going. That might be a good idea. Okay, still same thing as before. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. They never did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today, in fact. Kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. Been turning over every last stone and have come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway. I remember. You were just about to tell me. Alright, the Shigima kidnapping overview. A kidnapping and a murder case that took place in Hanjo, Sumida around 1 year ago. Haru Shigima's son, Shuichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school, with a ransom being demanded the same evening. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigima family is closely tied to the police, and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. 3 days of failure after failure, Haru reached breaking point. Spurred by concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible, but her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying that they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. An increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. I think that's probably our main character, detective guy, who just got cursed. The older man. Probably lost his temper or whatever. Another week passed, and Shuichi's body was found floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case is long gone cold. More to read! Shuichi Shigima, a male elementary school student with no curse echo, the only son of Haru Shigima, who was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi was a conscientious, brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother, Haru, amid his father's frequent absences. He dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, including playing piano, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training in kendo. Shuichi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for them all to go out on a hunt for mockingbird stickers. It's sad. I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for the files cover and just confirm a few things about the case. Police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River, here in Sumida City. It's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. It was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute. Factor in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house. It's likely that he was abducted by car on his route home. Maybe, but... Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car as a stranger. That's right. He was very firm about that. I know he understood, too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is, there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bubble someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So did they target him at some other time, or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? Police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must have just gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in an occult magazine the other day. Apparently some old books showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the rite can be found somewhere in Hanjo. I remember the first time you told me about that. Oh wait, I remember the first time you told me about that. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope for the first time. Ever since that awful day I've wondered. What if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're after the right? Guess I don't need to ask. It's written all over your face. to how much she meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this ride is the real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I thought, if I'm going to be competing with the other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. I realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. That's so? Is it? Dear, oh dear. What have I got myself into? You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I found and then we can make a decision. Alright. Okay, I thought he was gonna tell us, but no. The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into their car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is they were somebody that he would have had a reason to trust. A teacher perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all of the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. What if it wasn't someone he knew? Or rather, what if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shigima family has close ties with the police, after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right, but surely that couldn't have. Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. It's sort of the point, after all. They're meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. But there's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who have been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect the danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? Someone like the girlfriend Shogo wanted, maybe? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. I think the culprit was a young woman. But if it was a man's voice on the phone, she might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. Got a smart little cookie here. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. And I don't think he is... I think we just gotta say that's a shame. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. Do you have a mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul dregs? If that was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. The other curse bearers want to kill each other. That's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove? I'd avoid our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now. Why? Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? Haunting clappers, was it? It's one of the 7 mysteries of Hanjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Hanjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. Sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right? That's right. Olden times, when clappers were used to warn people of fire, I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. Seems like a good curse to have, simple and straightforward enough to use. Well, it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else it is. what else is on the table. You really think it's that good? Target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big, and it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket. Say that condition were already fulfilled before they even knew you're there, they wouldn't even know what hit them. Maybe. I won't actually have to use it. I could just tell someone I would. And they'd have to do what I said. That's good work. Although without any proof, it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a ladder right here. We could try it now. That's an interesting proposition. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. I agree. Oh, I see. You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just the curse. You flatterer. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See what I said about people's biases? That goes for witnesses too. I figured that maybe if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route to see if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if we could talk in private. Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around. I can speak in confidence. Excuse me, what is your name again? He looks like he's from the 70s. Jonuchi. Got it. Well, Jonuchi, I'm all ears. Just so we're on the same page, you're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigemo's kidnapping. Do I have that right? Of course. What else do I look like? How should I know what a private detective looks like? Oh, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help. Excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who's trying to kill you? A student called Michio Shirashi. You're trying to kill him? Interesting. Schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty. It is nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michio Shirashi. I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigema. Come again? I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it. Or at least, she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? And you can't let her get to me. That's true, you've been sending out some valuable information. Why'd you tell anybody? Well, you see, if you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you. I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word. Telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life. So you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans. Yes, that's it, exactly. I'm begging you, don't let her get me. The rest try to tell you she's a demon. Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified? You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me. Curse you? Sorry, but you're losing me here. It's true, her house, oh, forget it. Why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough. I'll find someone else to help me. Hey. Interesting. And that's about the long and short of it. I can hardly believe it. At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk, but I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it. Then, if you can't find that girl, curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name's Koichi Jonuchi. He's a teacher at Komagata High School here in Sumida. A teacher and a schoolgirl. Is one of his students? I think that's very likely. Wait, did she say that? Okay, no, he said that. Is one of his students, I think that's very likely. Alas, we've got a lead. Hopefully it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me to working on? I want to know more about the kidnapping, I'll be honest. Finally I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son. Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts on looking into the kidnapping. Although, something just occurred to me. You can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sun rises. Could you search for the other curse bearers? Alright, I'll see how it is. Or I see how it is. Well, I'd be happy to help. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So settle then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up and I can start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. And I guess not sleep at all. I'll even try and find Miss Shirashi as part of the bargain. Thank you, that's more than enough. Now then. Cowboy. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. Alright. There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it. Try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, if that's all, I should be going.